What up, what up, what up? JUCO Hoops Insider, episode 7 with my man BG. BG, what's good, homie?
Nothing, man. Junior college has started, supposedly.
It's like JUCO Christmas, isn't it?
It's like what?
It's like JUCO Christmas right now, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's JUCO Christmas in the way that like it's like that Christmas where you're all excited and then you get down to the tree and then you look around and you're like where's that new bike I asked for?
Where's all the cool stuff that I want?
Yeah, where's wait, what's going on? Yeah, it's starting slowly. We're gonna get there. We'll have some, I don't think it's quite like what we recognize as the start of junior college basketball yet, but it's good. And I'm gonna rant for 5 seconds because I already put this on Twitter this morning. Okay. All y'all guys with your box scores and your film, I'm literally on a show this morning, unable to talk about your teams and your box scores because I didn't get to watch everybody because they're not posted, and it's been like almost 48 hours. So get your assistant, put him to work. Thanks. All right, there we go. Rant's over.
Love management.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, people can be like, all right, I got stuff to do. You're going to be a jerk about. Well, then I can't go on and like talk about it, and I can't put it on Twitter, and I can't post pictures of your kids, and I can't talk about who played well and who didn't, whatever. Like, I can't watch every single game live. So, I'm trying to dig through box scores and watch film on Synergy and all this kind of stuff. And like help me, help you. Help me. Help you. Okay.
Amen. I love it. So we got some awesome guests. We have 3 guests back to back. So for the next 30 minutes, we'll have 3 10-minute interviews or so with some coaches at some of the top programs in junior college, and then we will kind of talk about JUCO hoops and let you guys roll. So to start it out, we had a top 25 matchup in Division I JUCO hoops, and we have the winner of that matchup, Coach Donnie Jackson from Tonkawa, is here to join us. So we'll bring him in the studio. Donnie J, what up, man?
What's up, guys? How are you guys doing today?
Doing well. Doing Christmas, man. So before we get started, we got to talk about this beard. Like, it has to be talked about. You can't just have the interview and not talk about the beard. So the motivation, was James Harden your motivation? Was Santa Claus? What was it? Let us know.
Well, deep down, Santa's always been the motivation. But the reality of it is this. So 2 years ago, I wasn't too thrilled how things went, and I wanted to make some changes. And one of my ideas I had for changes was, what can I do to make a commitment to the guys that I'm uncomfortable with? And it was the beard. I had never grown one. And I told them when they got here, I said, I'm going to commit this season, no matter how nasty or ugly or scratchy or itchy this thing gets, I'm growing an entire year. And it's to commit to you guys because I feel uncomfortable doing it, but I want you guys to be uncomfortable doing something and committing to something as well. So that's kind of the backstory, and I've just ended up liking it, and I've kept it.
I like it. So
it was
you had
really
a
nasty though for a while.
You say what?
I said it was pretty rough there for a while.
Now it's just a normal part of life. Here. So now you know how to comb it and wash it, shampoo it. You're good to go now.
For all the hockey guys out there, he looks like Joe Thornton, but not like 1995 Joe Thornton. He looks like today Joe Thornton.
I'll let BG take the next one. I'll hog all of mine.
Game number 1, Coach.
Okay.
And you have a box score. I'm looking at it right now.
Oh yeah. I'm not one part of the rant.
I do not belong in that.
Yeah. So game number 1, what, I talked to some guys, before they tipped off about like just such a weird thing where you you didn't have summer stuff, and then you had some fall stuff, and then you had some sitting in your room and quarantining stuff, and then everybody's trying to scrimmage, but they're like not able to kind of get everything done, and then everybody goes on break, they go home, and everybody goes home and catches COVID probably, and then comes back, and then more quarantining, and it's like play a basketball game. Like, what? How did you guys how do you mentally prepare your guys for like, hey, you haven't played in almost a year, here we go, and it's also a top 25 matchup on game one, so have fun. Whoop, you there, Coach?
No, I might.
Maybe.
Let me see. I see him.
Well, and I think ours is even more unique. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you start over, Coach? Sorry about that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yep,
we can
there
hear
you
you now. Can you start over?
Yay, nay? Okay. Yeah, no, you're good. So to go off. Yeah, I sure can. So I feel like we were in an even more unique situation. So we had 60 days off in between from when we left campus and when we were allowed to come back. And so 2 weeks before we were supposed to scrimmage, we had a kid catch COVID, and we were quarantined. And then it was Thanksgiving, and then we were virtual. And so they were home for 60 consecutive days. And so all I felt like I could do was just continuously text and call and encourage, just to say, hey, let's stay in shape. I know other people are still working, because I knew the first game of the year was going to be extremely tough, especially with the opponent, Cali, and the way they play. I mean, you got to be in shape. And
Yes.
that was really the only thing I felt like I could do, was just consistently and constantly text them. You guys there?
Nope, there you are. Yep. I don't know why it's got a little delay to it for some reason this morning. So if for some reason you can't hear us, let us know. Yeah, talk about getting the guys. Yeah, we got a delay there, Brian, of about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty dramatic, but we're gonna JUCO it out, and we're gonna make it work. So
we're gonna power through. Hey, let's break down your box just a little bit here, Coach. We got the two. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have J48 this summer, but the two J48 invites you told me this summer, these two kids are gonna be pretty darn good, and turns out they're pretty darn good. In Tyrell and JD. I guess talk a little bit about game one with them, and kind of what you see from them going forward.
As far as JD and Tyrell, or
yeah,
as our team, or both?
Let's start with JD and Tyrell.
As far, okay. Well, so okay. Tyrell, for people that don't know, he was an early signee with Jacksonville University. They did an excellent job recruiting him. Chad Eschball was phenomenal. Spent a lot of time on him, and they put their money where their mouth was, and put the paperwork in front of them and got them done. The thing about Tyrell, exceptional young man. He is ultimate coach's player. He's in the gym every day. He's a leader. He works on the things he needs to work on. But him and JD are what make it on his shoulder. Jim Rat, and both of them are so coachable, and they're the leaders of our team just because of their everyday decisions, actions, whatever you want to say. They just are everyday guys. And JD, he's about as motivated as anyone, because he's a small guard, and even his Twitter says size, or hard over size, or whatever it is. But he just gives his all every single day. And 4-year coaches, please be on the alert for him. And I'm starting to get a lot more calls, but everybody was in amor of Damari King last year, and rightfully so. He had 123s and was one heck of a player, and everybody kind of knows his story from walk-on to JUCO All-American. But you know what? JD can be just as good, if not better. The one game Damari didn't play last year, JD has 37. And he doesn't take bad shots. He's an ultimate team guy. He facilitates. He's a defensive anchor. And he just does it on both, particularly are guys that are all the way bought into me. They say the right things to the guys in the locker room, and they also do the things they need to do to be successful on the court.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, it's one of those things where like a guy like JD is so incredibly dynamic. Right now coaches are calling, right? They're not recruiting necessarily at the fever pace that they might be in a normal year, because a lot of guys are kind of sitting here waiting for the transfer stuff, which has now been tabled, because I guess. And maybe the transfer thing isn't going to happen. And it's guys like JD that are going to be sitting there when time comes and say, hey, I'm ready to go. Any of your guys there that are going to have a great season and just aren't getting calls right now. Like it's interesting. The guys like Jacksonville that put in the work early are going to really reap the benefits of having put that work in.
You guys there?
Yeah, we'll get you one last one, Coach, before we let you run. Thanks so much for joining. I know we got a little bit of a delay. Just anything else about your team that you would like anybody out there to know? I know you guys are a top 10 team in the country. You had a monster win against your former school that you used to work at and I believe play at. Anything else you want to share before you run?
Well, the interesting dynamic of the Cali game is, for those that don't know, I coached under Coach DeSalm for 11 years, and then I also played with him my senior year at Sterling College, and so it's an interesting game because I coached at Cali for 4 years with him. Now we're non-conference rivals. We're 40 minutes away, and he's also like a father figure, a brother, a friend, anything you can say. Me and him have that kind of relationship, so it always makes it a game that's always unique, fun, intense. It feels like a conference game, the very first game of the year, and so that's what we come to expect when we play Cali, and they're going to be very good again this year. And I'm expecting their best shot on Saturday when we play them back to back. We play each other twice in 4 days. We're probably the only ones crazy enough to do that.
You guys are taking the page out of the D1
with
book.
all that being said, I wanted to highlight one thing for Coach Burton, since and
I think we lost you, Coach. Got that Oklahoma dial-up.
Yeah, that dial-up is tough.
So
let's try this. We're going to give him one more shot.
There's a connection with you and Tori, me and JD, and now there's like a big family out there.
I love it, Coach. I love it. I think your story was about Tori. I couldn't hear it all. You were breaking up. But definitely thank you so much, Coach. Congratulations on the early win and the acknowledgement for your team being a top 10 team. Love Tori Noel, one of my guys I signed from you back in the day, and you were right on. He was one of those sub 5'10" guards that was really tough and about winning, and he definitely helped the program at Lamar when I was there. So thanks so much for jumping on, Donnie J. Congrats on the big win, and keep up the great work. And don't shave the beard.
Hello?
Oh, there he is. We lost him.
We lost him. It was a great interview. That was all the way.
I'll text him.
We're gonna keep it rolling. Win J.
You're breaking up too, homie.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on up there. What's going on? Everybody got that dial up. Oh, sure. Just put me on the main screen now. This is where I start doing that.
All right. Let's get our next guest in. Preseason number 1 rated head coach from Kirkwood Junior College, Tim Sandquist. We'll bring him in. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good, Brian. Brandon, how are you guys doing
What's
today?
up, buddy?
Good. We got the smooth connection now. I don't know where you are in the world, but yours is a lot smoother than Oklahoma right now.
Oh, shoot.
Well,
Thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us. Just kind of kick it off. Congratulations. I know the preseason rankings don't mean everything to a coach, but we try to act like they mean nothing. But let's be honest, it means something that people on the outside are at least acknowledging your hard work and your players and their abilities. So just talk a little bit about that preseason ranking first, and then we'll just kind of let JUCO advocate expertise himself take it over.
Oh God.
Yeah, the preseason rank is nice, and it's 2 years in a row actually we've been preseason ranked number 1. So, being at Kirkwood and kind of having that brand recognition, I think it kind of comes with the territory, especially winning a few national championships here in the last few years when Coach Petey was here. So, it's those things are expected around here. And, when we recruit kids, we tell them that this is a unique situation that they're coming into. So, those preseason rankings, as you guys know, they don't mean a whole lot. It's nice that the program is thought that way. But like I told our guys when we met and we kind of talked about that, and I was a little surprised, to be honest with you, that we got tab number 1, given the fact we only had one guy coming back off last year's team that played, and we had 15 new guys with freshmen and a couple pretty good transfers. So, I told him, I said, those preseason rankings in junior college, a lot of those have to do with that name recognition and what prior players and prior teams and coaches have done at the program to get those programs to the point where they are now. And that's what I told our team. And I said, this team hasn't accomplished anything, and now we have to go out night in and day out to prove that we're worthy of that. And, now we have, even more target on our backs, and that's something, that you have to embrace, if you want to play it at an elite program and a really good school. So it's nice, it's good, it's great for parents, it's great for social media to retweet and tweet and things like that. But, at the end of the day, it's about the work you got to put in every single day and in games.
It's it's a good thing you're my friend, or it might be awkward to interview you right after the first game. I mean, hey, it is what it is. I talked to another friend of all of ours who had an upset, not an upset, but like a tough loss in game 1 on the road. It's such a weird year where you've spent all this time like trying to accomplish a lot of things in the context of like what normal basketball season is supposed to be like, but you just can't. Like, you can't mentally prepare, you can't physically prepare, you can't get all of the normalcy to it, right? And you're dealing with a whole team of newcomers. I can't imagine how difficult this is for all of you guys to like try and get some normalcy to something that's completely abnormal. I mean, we can't go to the dang grocery store without, thinking through 10,000 things, so I imagine preparing for a basketball game is tough, but, it was a heck of a game against DMAC. I watched the whole thing, and, it looks like you've got some fantastic players as usual. Kirkwood, DMAC, always producing good guys. Who do you want to kind of maybe shine some light on for people that are watching this? Because I'm here to tell you, 4-year coaches, like, you're missing out if you're not calling places like Kirkwood and DMAC and a ton of these programs out there.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm glad you said that, Brandon, because I think there is a little D2, D1 narrative that gets missed a little bit. I think maybe now.
For sure. Oh my
I think,
gosh.
regionally, the Summit guys and the Horizon guys, they know how good
Right.
talent is in our D2 league. But when you get further out from the Midwest, there could be some misconceptions about what our level is in terms of players. So
there was a parent that asked me that was looking at Kirkwood and DMAC and a couple other places and some D1 schools. This was, I don't know, a few months ago or something. And they said, well, it's D2 school. And I said, they said, well, this other school, it's a Division I school. And I said, Kirkwood would beat them by 30. Just a heads up. Like, it's not it. Yeah. And it's the same way in Division I too. There's Division II schools that NCAA that would smack the face off of a lot of Division I schools and do. So go ahead.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like for instance, a couple of former players like Doug Wilson, who was here 2 years ago. He was the Summit League Player of the Year. For South Dakota State. He's got a chance to be a pro.
Yep.
And so it's a great level, good guys, but a couple of guys that I probably need to point out. Blake Brinkmeyer, 6'9" transfer from Indiana State. He had 16 and 12 the other night. He's played well on our scrimmage.
Some blocks too.
Yeah, he plays really hard. He's a guy. He's an Iowa kid he's from Des Moines. He's one that I think 4-year coaches really need to take a hard look at. And it's a unique situation a little bit for him. And we're kind of been trying to figure out his eligibility from here. But he was a guy who got hurt early on his freshman year at Indiana State, and then he redshirted his second year, and this year's a wash. So his years remaining could be maybe. So, with that having said, that he could become a target for a lot of schools.
Yeah.
Given his athletic ability and how hard he competes and plays.
You hear that, 4-year coaches? There's a guy who's 6'9", who had 16 and 12 against DMAC. He can shoot the 3, and he might have 4 years to play. I don't know. Like, if you're into 20-year-old kids that have 4 years to play that are 6'9", that are skilled, but that's just me. So
yeah, no, he's a good kid. Corbin Seals is another one. He's a transfer from Minnesota State Mankato, one of those good D2s that you mentioned earlier. Started 30 games from last year. He had a daughter. He's from the Quad Cities originally, so he wanted to get a little bit closer to home. And when he kind of said he was going to transfer out of there, we kind of got involved a little bit. And we have his younger brother as well on the roster. So he's another guy, that I think a lot of, low to mids probably need to take a look at for a combo. He's really talented. He's long. He's lanky. He can run the one. He can play off. He can do a lot of good things for you. A fantastic leader. He's got great intangibles. He's always happy. He's always smiling. He's got a very engaging personality that's fun to coach.
Win a lot of games with kids like that.
Yeah, and he's fun to be around. Like, he's just a fantastic kid. Chris Burnell. I have to mention Chris because he was the one guy that played for us last year that is back. Rockford, Illinois kid, 6'3", big guard. He's physical. He can get to the paint pretty much against anybody. He's a guy, he's probably going to be on that D2 low major fence that can go either way, depending what teams want and need. And then we got a couple qualifier, 2 qualifiers, 2 freshmen, Noah King from Caledonia, Minnesota. He's a top 500 recruit. He was a one-time South Dakota State commit. We're looking for good things for him. And then Caleb Delzell, 6'8", kind of combo stretch forward as well. Had a D1 offer late last summer, turned it down, and he's here at Kirkwood. So he's a guy too that could possibly move on from us as well. So, recruitable wise, I think those guys for sure are ones that coaches need to take a look at. So,
well, and I think what was, so impressive about the game in general, win, loss, or otherwise, was I watched, what did I watch? 6 or 7 games that night. That was probably the best game that I watched. Not only from just a pure game standpoint, but everybody's just playing their ass off, right? Like everybody was locked in and ready to go as much as you can be. Everybody was playing tough. It was great. It was great basketball. I was teasing Brian earlier that, JUCO Christmas, it was more like the Christmas where you wake up and you're like, cool, I got socks. It's just like, it's just not quite the same yet, it was weird, but that was great basketball. And
I appreciate that. It was good. And DMAC's a really good team. I mean, they got, they have 3 key kids back from the region championship team last year. So they're experienced and they got some good new talent in there. And you're right. It's a great game. And, unfortunately we dropped it, but we're looking to bounce back here on Saturday.
And there's anybody who watched that game knows, that's high end basketball that you guys are playing there. And I am gonna throw Coach Putz under the bus here because he's a really good friend of all of ours. But the first thing that I noticed about that game was that Coach, he's in his first game as a head coach, and he doesn't have the voice yet. And as he's screaming reverse, he's got reverse. And you could tell he wasn't quite used to yelling that loud yet. And he'll get accustomed to it.
I think
scars on his vocal cord.
I'm constantly hoarse now. I just have a bunch of gravel in my mouth. I cannot playing with my daughter and Barbies. Like I can't do girl voices. I just can't get that high anymore.
Get those scarred vocal cords soon enough as the head.
Can't do it.
So, but it was great to watch you. I wish I tell you, if we hadn't had COVID, I'd have been there because it would have been awesome to see 2 good friends coaching against each other, and in such a high end game, and when this damn thing is over,
it is. There's a direct flight that goes from Cedar Rapids to Denver. Just so you know, Brandon.
There we go.
There we go. Boom. Tim, before we let you go, man, one last question. Just anything you'd want the people to know about your program, about Division II JUCO. You kind of mentioned that kind of those stereotypes or bad connotation. Just anything you'd want us to know about either one before you go, and good luck the rest of the way, of course.
Yeah, just check us out. We got great talent. Kirkwood, it's a school of 14,000 kids. We're in the 2nd largest town in Iowa. It's a great campus. It really feels more like a 4-year feel to it when you step foot on it. And we have great tradition. And I don't think a lot of people know this, but, we have 3 national championships as a program. In 1998, Chris Jans was the head coach here, and obviously now at New Mexico State, big time JUCO supporter, won that one. And, the Coach Petey's at South Dakota State won the other 2 in 2016, 2019. But somebody like the other names that you guys all know that are Kirkwood guys, you got Chris Jans, you got Greg Heyer is an Eagle, Ali Farokmanesh, Terrence McGee, Jimmy Foster, all those guys are Eagles at one point. So, we like to say it's a brotherhood here a little bit because, there's so many former Eagles that are coaching and recruiting our guys. You still keep tabs on us. It's just it's a unique and really special place. And we're fortunate. I'm fortunate to be able to coach here at this institution. But, just follow us, follow me on Twitter. If anybody likes any of our guys, we'll be sure to send out film. Our film is always on Synergy. If it's at home, it's up by midnight right after the game. Our box scores are always up. So
everybody hear that?
I was going to say that.
I'm just Tim likes to help me help him.
Yep. Yep. I do.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate you coming on, man. Good luck the rest of the way, and keep doing the great things you're doing, man. Much respect, and regardless of the rankings, keep doing the job you're doing, because we know those don't matter until the very end. But great job what you're doing with your program.
I appreciate it, Brian and Brandon. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you guys.
Be good, buddy.
Yep.
Great. That was
love that guy.
Yeah, great.
I got to know him when he was an assistant at Northwest Kansas Tech, and we had a couple of kids that we. Huh?
Was he an assistant for Jace? Was Jace the head coach then?
No. This was after, and Jeremy Johnston was the head coach, and I had a couple. I was just first starting to get in, and we had a couple kids that I'd gotten connected to, and ended up playing there, and Tim took care of their goofy asses, so it was great.
Always love it when they do that. That means it says something about it. When you help a guy go to a place, and people don't understand this all the time, But when you take care of no matter how level good he is, if you take care of that guy, you have a whole different kind of relationship.
For sure.
It's like a member of the family for you if you help a kid go someplace. So
I'm gonna tell a real quick story about one of the kids, just because it's super JUCO relevant. But a kid named Tim Graham, that so he was a kid that had played up in the NWAC, and he had a really tough family life, and his mom being really sick and stuff like that. And so he had another JUCO that he was going to go to, and they kind of bailed on him at the last minute after him being kind of committed for quite a while. And so called up Jeremy and Tim and Sandquist, and they took Tim Graham, and he was good there, and went to a Division I where it just wasn't a very good fit. And so ended up going to a D2 Academy of Art, wonderful coach out there, great person. And they took care of him, and he had a good season there, and he ended up getting kind of hurt, and it was just kind of like one thing after another. Unfortunately, Tim's mom passed while he was getting ready to go to that Division I, and it was just it's just one of those things, like constantly working through a lot of stuff. And Tim is now a pro in Portugal, and he's averaging like 17 and 10 or something like that, and loving life out there, even in COVID times. He's going to get another contract out of this for sure at another great spot. And I can assure you that if it was not for Jeremy Johnson and Tim Sandquist at Northwest Kansas Tech, like none of the good things that have finally happened for him would have happened. So, shout out to those two for sure.
Awesome. Love it. We got another JUCO shout out from Andre Owens, former head coach at Western Texas.
They're doing all right down there, huh? Sam Houston
rolling right now. On in the Southland, undefeated in conference. Just got a big win this week, and
big dub against Abilene.
Yeah, make the move to the WAC too. So thanks for the shout out, Dre.
Yeah,
for dudes.
Boy, how good did that conference just get?
The WAC just got really good. Dixie State, people don't talk not Dixie State. I'm sorry. Dixie State's also involved.
Yep.
But Southern Utah is playing at a high level right now. It looks like an NCAA tournament team. They're also going to the WAC. So great stuff. Speaking of high level, we're going to bring on another top 5 preseason coach from Pearl River, and we'll just go ahead and let him jump in the screen with us. Coach, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing good. What about you guys?
Doing well, man. Thanks so much for joining us. We wanted to make sure we got some love out on the other side of the JUCO world, man. They don't know about Pearl River, so wanted to welcome you to the show. Tell us a little bit about the squad. Obviously, you guys are preseason rated top 5, so that means that people on the outside think highly of your guys and of you and the job you do. So tell us a little bit before Brandon takes it over.
I'm not sure. The last couple of years we've been ranked, preseason, which is outstanding for the program, for the college and for the community. And outside of those 3 things, I guess it tells us that people around the country are starting to notice, the things that we're starting to accomplish as a basketball program, which is all positive. It's something that we strive for, recognition, around the country that, the state of Mississippi and Region 23, have really good basketball players, and they have coaches that love and care about the sport and about the game just as much as, any of those other states that's out there that also receive, that kind of recognition.
For sure. And it's, what you guys have accomplished there is fantastic. And even if anybody just takes a cursory look at it, says, okay, they're doing really well in their, everything else. But when you really dive into like what you've done, especially in the context of, coaching basketball in junior college in Mississippi is not easy. There are a lot of things that are kind of stacked against you before you even get out the gate. In regards to just how a lot of things operate. And it's funny now, especially on social media, you guys do a fantastic job. It's something that's important. And I know it seems dumb, but it's really important because of it's 2021. So social media and making sure that your names are getting out there, your kids are getting out there, the graphic stuff and the video stuff and the pointing at your guys at the 4-year schools. You guys do such a really, really, really good job of that. And that's important because you can have great players and you can have them be successful, but if you don't tell their stories, there's a lot of basketball players out there, right? And you guys do a fantastic job, and it's funny, more often than not, people scrolling through there and it's Pearl River this and Pearl River there, and this guy's killing here and Pearl River, and so you've done a fantastic job of really elevating that name and brand and things like that, and it's been fun to watch you guys kind of lift that program and make it a nationally relevant name now.
Right. Well, a couple of things. One, I don't believe in dreams. I believe in goals. And obviously, when we started out, it was a goal of mine to reach the height that, that we're starting to reach. And the other thing, I just think, if you ask a coach in every conference in the country, they're all going to say the same thing. Well, this conference is tough to win. I think every conference that you're in is tough to win. And every conference, have circumstances and hurdles that you got to get over. If I was a coach in the Big 12 at Kansas, I'll be telling you, hey man, Baylor and Texas Tech and all those schools, tough to beat those schools. Right. Just like I was in the South, at one time, I was at Louisiana Monroe. It was tough to beat Texas, San Antonio, and Steve Voss. I mean, it's just any conference that you're in is tough to win. I had a guy ask me the other day, what team you think can give you a challenge this year? I just kind of laughed at it. I mean, every single one of them. People look at the 28-0 last year, but they don't look at it. Isaiah Moore had to fly the ceiling and block a shot at Jones when we was up 1 to win the game. They don't look at that. We had to get a defensive stop at Meridian when we was up 1 to win the game. I mean, all of these teams are tough. And, every game is tough. People watch Tiger Woods swing a golf club and think hitting the golf ball is easy. But have you ever tried to hit a golf ball? The end result of the hard work always seems like it's easy. But, like you pointed out, we have obstacles. It's tough. And I know ultimately we are, as a region, judged by, what we do at Hutchinson, Kansas, which, I understand that. And it is stacked against us, because it's tough for us, team from this region, to go out there and get a good seed. That's why one of our goals after we lost 2 years ago out there in Hutchinson was to get a better seed. And we got the ultimate seed, the number 1 seed, and COVID hit, So yeah. It is what it is. It's something that, we'll have to live with, from the time here on earth. But, we can say that it's been done once, so we know we can do it again.
Well, and I think, regardless of the wins and people are judging based on Hutch and people are judging based on whatever. But, the thing that I think people really need to judge based on, and we'll never convince them to do this, but, like a lot of your players that have gone on and been successful, like I know a lot of those kids' backstories. I know a lot of those kids, some of those kids that have had issues in the past, things that they had to really work on, mature with when they came to your program, and they've gone on and they've been incredibly successful at their 4-year school. And, when I call their head coach and say, hey, how's, so-and-so doing? And they say, man, great kid, works hard. He's everything that we want. I don't know how we're going to replace him. Things like that. Like that's the kind of stuff that, we got to judge on. And you guys have done such a fantastic job with that, where, anytime I'm talking about a Pearl River kid with one of the 4-year coaches and they're just, they're so happy with the recruiting choice that they made. Right. And like how important that is, because that's, you and I both know that at the end of the day is the definition of success, regardless of what anybody else says.
Absolutely. That's something else. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's something else that we keep up with. We don't post it on Twitter. Hate Styles, you don't post everything on Twitter, but we keep up with it in this office. The ultimate deal is for us to get those guys moved on and them to stick and help the team that they're going to. And I feel like if a kid goes to a 4-year school and has to transfer, well, I feel like I didn't prepare him, as best as I could, and that disappoints me, and knock on wood, we haven't had many, to go to schools and transfer because they couldn't take it or couldn't, get through the obstacles that they were going through, or the tough coaching, that they're going to go through. So I think it's something that ranks way up there as far as, the things that, we're super proud of, with the kids coming out of this program.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys have done a fantastic job with it, like I said, and we get to continue to hear about it because you do such a good job of sharing those stories and talking about successes and things like that. So, onwards and man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, Coach. Anything you want to share that again, before you go about the program, about the guys in the program this year that maybe need to get some looks, or maybe even guys at the next level. Just anything before you go that you'd want to share with anybody listening.
Well, the same as everyone. I think here, we do a good job of being honest with our guys and pushing them, to the extent that they're 4-year ready. And like I tell them all, the best way to show a 4-year coach that you're deserving of a scholarship is to win games. Because if you're winning games, that means that you're doing the things correct out there on the court. We don't have a lot of guys that average 20 and 30 points a game, because we're going to make people pass the ball to the open man. We're going to make people play defense. We're going to make people, care about, team and winning. Tay Hardy, which is a kid that we keep up with a lot because he's right down the road to Southern Miss. But when Jay Ladner came over to recruit him, the only thing I can say is he's a winner. He's going to look up at the clock and figure out a way to help the team score more points than the other team. As a 4-year coach, especially ones, 4-year coaches, they're on a contract system, 3 and 4-year contracts. They don't have time for guys to come in. That's all about me. They need guys coming in that's trying to elevate the program on the W side. And I think here at Pearl River, if you come in and get one of our guys, you're going to get a guy that care about team and care about doing things the right way and try his best to make sure his program scores more points than other teams. And graduate and all that kind of good stuff. So that's what we're about, and that's what we're going to continue to be about.
Well, Coach, good luck the rest of the way. Thanks so much for taking the time today, man. Much respect to the awards that you've won individually, Coach of the Year, and the year you had last year. I hate that COVID happened for a lot of people. Last year could have been it was an extremely special year, but could have ended in a enormously special year where you have a different type of banner. But you're going to keep doing what you're doing, and there's no doubt you'll be back where you were. And look forward to seeing what you guys continue to do, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. Hey, go Wildcats.
Be good, Coach.
We're going to try this again. Coach was awesome. We're going to try this again one more time if we can for a few minutes with Donnie J. See if we can bring him back. What we got, Donnie? We got some better we got off the dial up.
Well, I got off the Dollar Tree Wi-Fi. Now I'm on my house. Hopefully we're better now.
It's okay, Coach. I used to have to teach coaches how to check their email. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I think you said a lot of great stuff. I don't know if we heard all of it. So I don't know where we should pick up off exactly, but I think you were saying something at the end about Tori Noel, and then we'll talk a little bit more about your team, and then we'll let you go back to real work.
Yeah, I got teaching here in about 45 minutes. I teach 23 hours a year, so that's the JUCO way. I actually really enjoy teaching. Just the relationships I get to build with other students, to build support for the games, and also to be able to see them when they participate in their sports and support them is really fun when you get a chance to teach, and it's not just basketball focused, But to go back to what I was saying with you, it's cool that you're doing this show and the connection you and I have, and you coaching one of my former players at Lamar, and then Tori also coaching JD Ray at Midwest City and grooming him to come play for me. I just love those kind of connections. And really, that's kind of like most of the guys I get are based off former players and the connections they have in those areas. And with us having, our limitations and hearing Coach Oney talk how each region has different restrictions, that's why you got to base it all off contacts and connections. And I try to do mine through guys that have good experiences here at NOC Tonkawa.
Yeah, talk about Oklahoma JUCO. I mean, we kind of talked about the Mississippi route. We talked about the D2 thing. Talk a little bit about just the Oklahoma perceptions or misperceptions or whatever it may be when it comes to recruiting.
Each school has its own unique things. Like, Kansas has went to unlimited out-of-staters or, whatever. They can have way more. Like schools within our region, some of the colleges like ours in particular, we have to have half our roster Oklahoma kids, same way with Enid, Murray State. Then some of the other schools in our region, they can have unlimited out-of-staters. And so you really have to do a good job like us of finding the right Oklahoma kids that fit your program and also good enough to help you win games. And we've been very fortunate that we've we only have 5 out-of-state kids on our roster this year, and predominantly Oklahoma kids. And guys like a Damari King, guys that walked on, and 3-year guys that had success and earned it. Those are the guys we got to find, the JD Rays, the Torrey Noels, and et cetera, for us to be successful in our region. But I also think the kids from Oklahoma have learned to want to play at a school like ours or Murray State or NEO or Connors. You can go on down every list of schools in our region, but I think they take a pride in wanting to play for our schools, especially since we're starting to be able to contend nationally, and I hope we can continue to keep it that way. But it's extremely hard. That's why we play the schedule we play. That's why Desam and I are playing, each other home and home. It's their only 2 non-conference games. And so we just try to play the best teams to prepare us, because we're not always going to be the most talented, but we will be at least prepared against the real teams so that we can be ready for region play. And I was really impressed with our region last year. Murray won our region. We were right there, and we had the at-large, and then NEO was getting in with COVID, and all 3 were very deserving. And I think all 3 and other teams in our region will be right there in the thick of things again. So it's a region that's well coached, lots of different schemes, lots of different recruiting philosophies. But at the end of the day, they're all getting after it and trying to do the right things. That's why I really like listening to Coach Oni talk, because we try to do the same things, try to prepare them for the 4-year level. And so when someone gets someone here, they're like, hey, they're prepared for that. And they know how to go to class every day. And
You hit a button.
Yeah,
no, someone tried calling me.
Oh.
Not only prepared though, but I think one thing you do a great job of, and I'll say this before I pass it to Brandon, is that you still stay connected with your guys when they go to the next place. So that's such a huge role about being successful, because you're going to have some kind of bumps in the road along the way. So to be able to pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, can you call, or can you touch base, or hey, he's struggling with this, what should we do to help? I think that's a big part of it. You know what I mean? So I give much credit to you and how much you're invested. I know Brandon was looking at that box score. Was the score not 110? Did I see that? Did they score 110?
Yeah. So I think he alluded to this early on. When you go play Cowley in your very first game, they have a unique way of playing. So it's like, your first game of the year is like playing against someone that runs the Princeton or something. It's like, all right, this is completely different than we're going to play probably for the rest of the season. So it's I don't know. I don't know what is that like saying, hey guys, I know you've been sitting in your rooms literally for like 4 months, but you're going to run harder today than you have run in your life. So ready, set, go. Because it is a track meet when you play Cowley.
I agree. And fortunately, win or lose and whatever happens on Saturday, and I know they're going to come ready to play. Coach is a great coach and always has them prepared. But if I didn't have returners that understood the pace, then I don't think we would even have had a chance in game 1. But fortunately, we have 7 returners that at least experienced it, and I think that at least helped in the early part of the game. But by the end, with limited practices, we were gassed, they were gassed, and I'll be interested to see. Yesterday was literally a recovery day. We stretched, lifted, stretched again, and iced and rehabilitation, and then we took the complete day off from basketball because I know what we're going to have to do again on Saturday. And I wanted to make sure they had legs because I know it's going to be another track meet and up and down, and they're never going to quit ever.
Yeah, I don't think unless I can't even probably wrap my head around how fast that is, unless you play in it. Like because we're talking 110 points like in junior college in a 40-minute game. Like that's fast.
Very fast. It's stressful. And you also have to just let your guys, you have to trust them to make the right reads because you're not running offense. You have to be able to play the advantage, disadvantage game with the 3-on-2, 2-on-1s. and you have to make the right decisions. And then you have to make the decision of sprinting back as hard as you can, locate their shooters right away. He has a unique style, and I actually, since I worked for him so long, for him to change and be a half court grinder to play that way now, it's a complete 180. And I would have never thought he would have did it, but I give kudos to him for reinventing what he likes. And it's really fun to go against. You just know that you don't have as much control as you would like as a coach.
Yeah, no thanks. I'd have just I can't take this. It's too much stress.
That's how it is. Yeah, it's very stressful. But I am looking forward to playing them again, and I expect their best shot. I know our guys are ready to play them, and what's cool in the way I approached it was, since we both just a little quick backstory. It was going to be both our very first time as coaches going to Hutch, and since I worked with him, I thought it was pretty cool that me and him were going to be able to go to Hutch together and experience that together. But we kind of approached the game as, hey, since we didn't get a chance to go and play, let's make this a national tournament type game. And that's the way we're going to approach it on Saturday too, is let's leave it all out there. And I feel like all of us, who knows when cancellations are going to start coming, leave it all out there, because next week you might be out 2 weeks and you don't know next time you're going to be able to play.
100%. Oh, you're on mute, Brian.
It's JUCO morning. It's all good.
Man, over here hitting buttons and stuff. Jeez.
Thanks so much for coming back, man, and getting off the Dollar Tree Wi-Fi and getting on your Wi-Fi at home.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys. One little quick shout out, coaches: JD Ray, Avante Lederer, Cyrus Grisby, and I could go on down the list of other sophomores, but we got some guys here in Tonkawa. And with them having 3 years to play, come check them out. You won't be disappointed. All on track to graduate. So I had to definitely make sure I plug those guys, because they're all recruitable guys. And thanks for all your support of JUCO athletics and making a priority. Really, really thankful that you guys get our names out there and support us, and just can't thank you guys enough.
Maybe 4-year coaches listening, you got my email. You've got Donnie's number. You've got their live stream stuff. You've got their video stuff. You've got everything you need to recruit his kids. I sent it to you. So, yeah, call him.
Thanks so much, Donnie. And hug those kids, man. I love the picture seeing your kids, man. Hug those kids and keep enjoying it, man. You're doing an awesome job. Much respect. And thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you guys. Stay safe and healthy.
Okay, man. Same to you.
Be good, coach.
Boom, we're done with the interviews. Another great one. We had to remix that one, P. Diddy style. But it was good, man.
Adaptation is the key to air power.
It is definitely it's like the word of the theme of this season for JUCO. Definitely, yeah, right. Definitely the theme. We got a couple comments. Mr. Wisebroad's a faithful one. Great interview. Thank you, John. He coached. What does he say? What's my guy say? Love the one-on-one with coaches, makes it personal. His son played at Lamar with Tori Noel, who of course Coach was talking about. He referred to. So thank you, John. And Anthony Willis showing some love. Good look, guys. So getting some JUCO love this morning. Let's talk about some of the rest of the rankings. I don't know if you haven't pulled up. I'll be going to. We can go Division 1 first. We can go Division 2 first. We can do however you want to do it.
We got it's interesting because like rankings, I don't know, rankings are always funny anyways. Junior college rankings are extra funny. And some of the I don't know, what do you call it? Like, I'm always conflicted because I like the fact that there's attention drawn to junior college, sometimes during the summer from different publications and things like that, but sometimes it's a complete crap show as far as information and what's real and what's not and whatever. But they do the best job they can with these NJCAA rankings. I mean, that's the funny thing about junior college is there's so much turnover player wise that from one year to the next.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff that's based on rumor and, who kind of hypes their guys up the most. And,
who knows who has a vote or share in the voting.
Yeah. There's, a lot of times it's who's the loudest guy in the room, gets a couple bonus points here and there and whatever. And some guys aren't worried about it, so they fall down,
Name, like you said, once you build a name, they kind of just recycle some of the same names, which is
whatever. I feel like in the last, couple years, the NJCAA has done a really good job, as good of a job as you can, with the Hutch stuff and the at-large bids. I like that they had gone to 8. I think there's still like availability for tweaks here and there to kind of, I don't know. I honestly, I do really feel like for the most part they do about as good as you can with this stuff, because it's tough. It's difficult. Like, schedules are difficult and different depending on where you live, like, and how much money you have and stuff kind of dictates, your non-conference schedule. You don't have buy game opportunities per se, like not like you do at the D1 level, where if you're, let's say you're Stephen F. Austin and you find someone that's dumb enough to pay you a bunch of money to come and play them. I can only imagine how frustrating it must be for guys like that. But, you can go on the road and get some big win and, really kind of throw your name in there for an at-large bid. East Tennessee State did that there last year and, got some of these big road wins that they were getting paid for stuff. It's tougher to do that in junior college. And then this year it's like, all right, schedule is who's within 2 hours driving distance. Like who can we pack a sandwich at home, drive and play, not see anybody, put on blinders, not fist bump anybody, not nothing, play the game, grab your sandwich, get back on the bus and get home and sit in your room and then not see anybody for the next, until the next game. And that's, it's crazy. I am glad that, I'm like rambling here, but I'm glad that New Mexico military is sounds like their schedule is going to get to open up a little bit, because New Mexico's governor finally opened things up. Unfortunately, they did it after NMJC kind of had to pull the ripcord, and because it kind of became that, like, if we don't do it now, then these kids could be stuck, and they did a good job of helping get those kids out the door and onto other schools, so that they can, get as much accomplished this year as possible. So just a lot of tough circumstances out there, but there's a few teams on here, like, you've got a lot of kind of your known commodities, I guess, in the top 25 rankings here, but Cochise popping up. They're towards the back end, NEO, A&M. There's a few teams that were getting votes, like, Colby, I think, is going to be very good this year. North Dakota Sciences plays tonight. They got a couple kids that I'm really excited to watch actually tonight. Western Wyoming sitting there at 16, and Coach Souza does a fantastic job. He's a good friend and a good ball coach and loves his kids. And I think he does a fantastic job there. And so, they'll get underway tonight as well. Actually, not tonight. They get underway in about 2.5 hours, I think, at a neutral site game against Lamar. Wyoming, Colorado region kind of having to do the, hey, I'll meet you at somewhere in the middle town to try and get, some of these games in and, get as much film as possible so these kids can get recruited and, things like that. It's Navarro sitting there at 11. You want to talk about a talented team that has got some dudes on it. They're going to be very good. Coffeyville looked great in game 1. That Blaze Keita kid that's a freshman there, he had an okay game, but like his ceiling is off the charts. Played at Sunrise Christian before that. And I'm just excited to see kind of whatever people can get accomplished. It's going to be lots of little wins this year, right? I think it's going to be, maybe things that don't get as much attention in the past as being something that's that significant. Like it's going to become significant stuff this year. Whether it's an individual great game that helps get a kid looks, it's going to be just you know what, if you make it through the year surviving as a group and you come out the other side stronger for it, that's going to be success. Right, like, you know, the wins and loss part of it is complicated, and anybody that holding themselves to a win-loss standard like they would in the past, I get it, you're a coach, you're competitive, like that's what, you know, your brain is built to do, but you know, there's a lot of other things that are going to define success, I think, this year as well. So
For sure. Yeah, you touched on a couple of things I want to bring up. Definitely the NJCAA before. So I coached in junior college at a point in time before they had the at-large. And, man, was that a game changer. So credit to them for not only doing it, but how they've rotated and not made it where only this certain region or this certain region. They've done a good job of just finding a way to get more teams in it. And I think it's benefited the kids, benefited junior college. So
for sure.
It's made Hutch a much better experience overall for everybody. John A. Logan, who was guest on the show earlier, this JUCO Insider season, they picked up one of those players from New Mexico. This sounds like it's another high major talent. So the rich get richer, the number one team in the country. Ramon Douglas Watkins, 6'6" guard from Peoria, Illinois. So if you don't know that name, definitely tune in. I hate for Coach Adams, Luke Adams over at New Mexico, that he didn't get to coach him, because he's done such a great job in a short amount of time that he's been there with his players and helping those guys move on and get a chance to get recruited and kind of getting his feet wet at the head coach. But a big time player, it sounds like, that is added to a roster that's already big time. So before we move on, I just wanted to mention that because I kind of got that word. So,
you know, it's interesting as I'm kind of looking through this. Really, really diverse group, you know, in the top 25 here. You know, unfortunately, Monroe and the New York schools had to shut her down, but you do have some East Coast representation here with Harcum, you know, coming in early at 19. You know, they're gonna get in as many darn games as they can out there. I know it's going to be tough for them, but you know, another program that does a really good job with sending their guys on to be successful and things like that. But I mean, you go top to bottom here, and it's
spread out as I've ever seen it on a preseason poll.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the Oklahomas and Arizona and the Missouris and Georgia and Wyoming, and you know, it's you throw this up on a map, it's pretty impressive.
Yep, I would agree. Anything from the Division II polls, I know they put theirs up too. I know DMAC got a big win. We had Coach Sanquist on from Kirkwood, who was preseason number one. DMAC actually beat them in the game to start out. Talk a little bit about the Division II level before we kind of just talk JUCO in general.
Yeah, I mean, there's, you know, same kind of thing. Like you're a little all over the place, which is awesome. I just noticed it's top 20. I wonder why that is. Has that always been that way? Division II for top 20? I guess I never noticed, as opposed to 25. But yeah, you got DMAC in there and that Kirkwood matchup. I mean, that was kind of like having your you know, Kansas versus you know, whatever top game, like leading off the season, you know, played on an aircraft carrier or something like that on ESPN. So no, it was great. It was great to get that one. You know, Schoolcraft is up there at number 4. They do a fantastic job. South Suburban at number 2. You know, you got it's Parkland at number 10. We've got a good relationship there and have worked closely with those guys in the past, especially with some of the stuff that we do in Chicago and things like that. So, and then you look at, like, you know, the also receiving votes, it's a whole bunch of names that, you know, everybody knows and are tough teams, and at any point could be jumping into that top group. And yeah, it's cool. It's another diverse group there, and you know, it's going to be kind of exciting to see how all of that shakes out.
Yep, absolutely. Let's go next to your JUCO Product Player of the Week. We'll go to that, and then we'll just talk about going forward, just any games that or anything going forward that we should look at. But let's talk JUCO Product Player of the Week. We had another close race. I think it seemed like over 400 votes, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, this one kind of got away. You know, first week was Chris Duarte.
You're right.
Chris Duarte, week 1. I made this a vote thing because it's fun and gets more people interested and paying attention and whatever. But so we had candidates. Well, we had some honorable mentions. We had Mike Nuga up at Kent State, Eastern Florida player that has played fantastic, and he played great again this week so far. And he's going to be in that mix. Didn't quite sneak in there. There was just some. It was hard. It was hard to like choose. I'm looking at this list, going like, geez, like how do I? Let me pull up the votes here. But how do I?
It was close early, but then I think there was a campaign manager that started for Shahada Wells, who was the winner, and then he kind of ran away.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have some. But before I move on, the other honorable mention, Derek St. Hilaire from New Orleans, hit a 33-point game. Unfortunately, I kind of had to set a standard of like, you got to play 2 games. Right. And they only were able to play 1 that week. But, he was fantastic. But yeah, I thought early on it was going to be a Horizon League, fight. AJ Brahma from Robert Morris. He had in his 2 games, he had 42 points, 30 rebounds. Jay 48 player. Yep. And former Sheridan player. President at Sheridan / Gillette felt like sports are dumb and, I don't want them anymore. So we'll see how quickly he finds out how much you need sports at small town schools like that. But that's neither here nor there. So, I thought it was going to be a Horizon League fight between him and then Jalen Moore. And I apologized to Jalen Moore on Twitter. I apologized to Jalen Moore in a response. And I'm going to apologize to Jalen Moore on here. I fat fingered his stats on there. He had 49 points in his 2 games, and I put that he had 16 assists and 7 rebounds. He actually had 26 assists, not 16. I just hit the wrong number for Oakland, and had a couple wins that week, I think against Youngstown, if I recall, who's a tough squad. So Jalen from Olney Central is out there killing. And so I thought it was going to end up being down between those 2, and then it really wasn't. Because the Tyler, I think it was Tyler Junior College brand management that went to work on that one and putting Shahada out there. And Shahada Wells was more than deserving of the win there too. He had 41 points, 12 assists, 9 boards. Tough player. He's been good all year long. This wasn't just he was good this week. He's been good all season and is a huge part of.
Started out the year, not to cut you off, I did cut you off, sorry. All-American who started out the year going toe-to-toe with Cade Cunningham and showed that he's one of the better guards in the country at what he does.
Yep. And they got that one, if I remember right, and don't quote me, but I think they got that one done early, like in the fall.
They signed him early. Yep.
And, it was – I remember talking to some guys before – like in the summer, that, hey, you got to look at this kid, you got to look at this kid, you got to look at this kid. And there was a lot of like the typical, like, how big is he really? And, what's going to turn like,
what position is he?
What is he? What is Kenny? Is he more of a 2? Is he more of a 1? Like, oh man, he just stop.
He can play.
He can play basketball like really well. I don't know. What do you want him to do? He'll go freaking do it. He's one of those guys that just does whatever you want him to go do. But Augie did a great job getting that done, and there you are. I mean, now he's one of the best players in the conference, and one of the best JUCO product players in the country, and so he was our week 2 hashtag JUCO product player of the week.
Yeah, shout out to Greg Young over there too at UTA.
Yep.
I always look at when a JUCO guy signs.
Who's the JUCO guy on staff?
JUCO guy on staff understands how to value that guy, because sometimes if you don't have that guy, you don't understand what you're getting or how to help that transition or the whole nine. How important it was to sign him early. I mean, it was basically between, if I'm not mistaken, it was Stephen F. Austin and UT Arlington, which are 2 high-level mid-major programs in Texas. You can't get any higher than those guys. So had great options, but had it been late, I mean, who knows what it would have been. The guy was the All-American. So
Stephen F. had two guys that didn't quite make it in last week that first game so far this week have said, well, okay, we're going to try and win this thing in week 3 with Gavin Kinsmill, JUCO product, also Caribbean Suriname product. Every time I say Suriname, people are like, where is that? Like it's this, it's like the third moon of Jupiter or something like that. Like, no, it's just the far west end of the Caribbean, like kind of hooked onto the South America. But with Odessa has a Suriname.
He was newcomer of the year in the Southland as well.
Yeah. And then Cameron Johnson is the other one. And those two, it seems like every night, it's just team takeover in there, and who's gonna come out of that one. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see one or both of those guys in the list this week. I got box scores to dig through, and I'm constantly like going through, and I'm like, okay, I got this, this group of guys, and then I'll see another name like, oh crap, I forgot he was. Okay, we got that one, and especially the ones that are a couple years removed now from
Sure.
junior college. Keeping 10,000 names straight in your head and remembering who all everybody is tough, but we do what we can.
That is why you are the JUCO advocate.
I don't even know what it is anymore.
Mad scientist.
What do we got for? We got to look and see what matchups we got coming up. Today, what's today? Friday. We got almost 50 games in Division I today. There's going to be some good ones out there. There's still, some guys that are trying to, kind of stretch their legs a little bit with scheduling wise. But there's some good. You got Murray State and South Plains tonight. It's a big one.
That's a big.
Snow and Cochise will be a good game later tonight. I'm excited to watch Lake Region and Sciences, and probably a lot of people are like, I don't know why. First off, there is incredible hidden talent up in that Dakota region. There are always good players that come out of there, and Sciences for sure. There's a big kid named Ty Horner that I'm really excited to watch. That was an NWAC player before, big 6'10" guy. So all you Division I coaches out there that are looking for a big, you need to take a peek at Sciences tonight. Ty's really good. Who else we got here? We got
Lester Stewart, give him a quick shout out.
Well, we got what? Which one?
Lester Stewart Jr. says, "Let's go B&B." Give it.
Ooh, we got Odessa and Hill at 3:00 Eastern. That'll be a good one. Said I'll be. Oh, you know what? I said Western Wyoming was at 12:30. Apparently, it's not till 2:30, which means now I have to do a bunch of other stuff from 12:30 to 2:30 before I can say, "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go watch this game. I gotta do this thing at this place." Ooh, Indian. Oh, you know what? Indian River and Pensacola, I think, just have already tipped off. So there we go. We got an early one. So, yeah, it's 4-year coaches that are listening to this. Check your emails. I've sent it 1,000 times, but we sent out a list of Division I junior college programs. We're still working on the Division II list with everybody's live stream. If they have a live stream, we've tried to put it on there. Some people weren't responsive. Some people don't have one. But we got, I'd say, probably 70% of the schools. We got a live stream link that we sent you in a spreadsheet. So don't tell me you can't watch their games, because I have sent it to you. So,
yeah, I was just about to ask you before we run. What is your message to Division I or 4-year schools, period, I should say, not just Division I? What is your message to them? And then what is your message to other JUCO programs? So we'll go 4-year schools first.
Yeah, so, weird year. I think I'm going to say that about every 7 minutes until it's not. But, we don't know what's going to happen with the transfer rule stuff. Mark tabled the thing and the vote, because for some reason, whether or not a kid can free transfer one time should definitely be tied to name, image, and likeness legislation. Why not? So that was a very congressional thing to do, to strap, immigration policy to, school lunch funding. But so, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So don't get caught waiting. There is an incredible amount of junior college talent that nobody is talking to. And I always tell them to think of it this way too. The difference between 3 years to play and 4 years to play doesn't really exist for me, especially in transfer happy world and all that kind of stuff. So, you really need to look at the fact that if you can get a junior college sophomore who has 3 years to play, think of that like getting a high school kid. Right now, if you were able to get a high school kid that's 20 years old, is a grown ass man, and has, 2 years of college basketball experience at a high level under their belt, like think about what a lot of those JUCO sophomores that are really good would do if they walked into an AAU gym and played against a bunch of high school kids. Like they cave their heads in a lot of times. So if you're ignoring that junior college player because, I don't know, whatever, they have 3 years to play for the most part, or 4 years to play if they're a freshman qualifier or a redshirt or something. So you're willing to overlook a guy that would have gone in and destroyed high school competition now, who has high school level eligibility left. Like that's what you're doing. So, you can have whatever notions you have about junior college players. All you got to do is spend about 5 minutes on my Twitter feed to realize that there's junior college players kicking the crap out of people all over the country at every level. So, if you're chilling, just waiting for that transfer stuff to happen, I hope it works out for you, but you're probably making a pretty significant mistake if you're not putting some effort in right now. And because unfortunately, I think it's going to be the high school kids that suffer the worst with recruiting stuff. So that being said, I think the junior colleges are going to, benefit a lot. Being able to get some high school kids that normally would have gone on to 4-year schools that there's just not enough scholarship opportunities for this year. And so they're going to be able to pick those guys up. And then junior college coaches, this is always so hard. Help your guys out. Like let them go. This is going to be a tough year recruiting wise. Next year is going to be even harder. So if you're one of the guys that's really saying, hey, just come back, and pushing it. Now, if it makes sense, fine, whatever. But if you're really pushing the comeback because you want that guy another year and it's going to help you win more games and things like that, like you're putting a lot of pressure on that kid to find a spot the next year, because there's going to be even less scholarships because they're allowing rosters to expand this next year if schools will let them. And then they have to come back. So, the 22 class is going to be a complete, ball of chaos. So do what you can, and I know most of them do, but not all of them. I've already gotten the, hey, I called coach and he said no sense in recruiting the kid because the kid's definitely coming back. What? Like how before we've even played a game are you saying that the kid is definitely coming back? Like,
right.
Come on, and I get it. It's hard, and you got your best players, and you want to hang on to them, but it's not your job.
Right.
Your job is, at the end of the day, is to, help your kids move on and be successful at the next spot. And unfortunately, part of what helps you keep your job is winning games. So, there is a balancing act there, but a lot of really good coaches figure out how to do both. And you're in junior college. You're firing on all cylinders to reload that roster every year. And so it sucks when you say, hey, coach, you gotta check this kid out. And they're like, man, I love him. We want to get in there. We want to recruit this kid to our place. And they call the coach, and the coach doesn't answer the phone, says, no, kid's coming back. You can't talk to him. He's definitely coming back. Like he wants to win a national championship here. Does he? Like, let's maybe, sure. But why don't you let them ask? And, cause it's something that, there's a lot of risk in a lot of ways, to the decisions that are going to be made in the next 3-4 months.
It's not as big, just to jump in, it's not as big as a guy deciding to go to the NBA or come back to Division I. But there's a lot of similarities because ultimately it leads to your dream to be at the next level, to have bigger, better opportunities for your craft that you put so much time into. And
Yeah, we see it at the Division I NBA level too. We see it with guys that,
right.
The coach does everything they can to prevent that kid from going to the draft. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of kids that go to the draft that shouldn't be going to the draft.
Right.
But, we see guys fight to keep their kids that are getting, late first round guarantees and stuff like that. And every once in a while they pull it off and they keep that kid. And, I've already seen it a couple times now where those kids get hurt.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And it's like, oh man, well, it's tough. Our guy got hurt. So, all right, well, I'm going to go recruit another one. Hope he has a great life. It's like, hey, that's, and look, I'm not trying to be dramatic here with that, but if there's a great opportunity, what are we doing? Right. Now, if it's an opportunity that is just an opportunity and it's not a good opportunity and it's not a good fit and it's not, whatever, I get it. Hey, it's not like you have to say yes to everything. And it's not like you have to say yes just for the sake of saying yes. But, this is my rambling rant, but it is what it is. Like, let the kid decide. Do the best you can to give him as good of advice as you can. And you know what? Karma has a way of working that stuff out, because if you become known as the coach that helps their kids as much as possible, gets them to the right spots, gets them to the right fits, it's amazing how many people are willing to help you get more.
Right. And it's going to come back to you and like you said this already, high school kids are probably going to suffer the most, but there's going to be a lot of transfers from the Division I level that may not be able to go to another Division I. So they're going to end up probably having to go JUCO. And there's going to be a lot of really good high school players that are stuck trying to figure out where can they go. So there's plenty of good players. And it kind of goes back to the thing that's happening at Division I level. So the grad transfer thing, or not grad transfer, the one-time transfer thing makes it where now all coaches in every program, Division I, have to think about, is this kid that's playing for me now going to be back for me next year? So it's happening at every level now where everyone's having to deal with that. And it definitely keeps a different level of accountability to how you treat your players and what your relationship is. And how do you have those tough conversations when the season's over? Because a lot of their decision is going to be based on how you deal with them and how your relationship is even before that moment comes. So
right.
I think it's like a last minute pitch and you're going to be able to – so JUCO guys, it's not as there's no portal, right? There's no – and JUCO coaches can influence some of the calls that come in and some of that stuff. But hopefully with all that's going on, hopefully guys will handle that the right way, like you said, and help more kids move on to the next level. There's enough to go around. And most of these guys that are really good at what they do, and we talk about some of these programs, but Steve Green, for example, he's been doing it a long time. He's still at the top of the poll. Hank Polona, who worked for Coach Green at South Plains.
Yep.
Now Indian Hills, they're at the top of the polls pretty regularly. It doesn't matter that the name on the jerseys changed, but the name on the front doesn't change and the product didn't change. So I think, and those are obviously heavily resourced programs, but even the Tonkawas that, Coach was on today, Pearl River, like guys are figuring out how to win because they're doing it the right way or in a way that works.
Right.
Out. So yeah, just wanted to give that quick interlude, but yeah, anything else you got, man, we'll shut it down and watch a lot. We got a lot of JUCO games to keep up with this week. That's for sure. It's going down now.
Yep. I got to go take care of the chickens and I got to get my screen set up and good to go.
So the last thing we'll end with is how many screens and gadgets do you have going at once? How do you manage all of the madness? All that, because you can't even go in person to any game. So now you're like, all these games are going at different times and people are playing at different times than they normally would because school's not in. How are you managing all that?
On Wednesday, I had 6 screens. And so in my basement, I've got an 82-inch TV.
Oh, wow.
And I had 2 games going on that TV. And then I had my Chromebook and I had my PC laptop and I had my phone going. And then around the corner, I moved my because my TV's in there, I moved my iMac screen over that way. And then I've got a TV that's next to this in here as well that I threw a game on. And so I think technically I had 7 if you count the 2 games going on the 80-inch TV.
Wow. That's impressive. Did you see it?
Yeah.
We gotta get there on the stream at some point. We gotta get just a quick glimpse, like take a picture of the set at some point, or have some. You gotta have it.
You know what? When you got that many games going on, because on like a Saturday, you know, I'll have the junior college stuff going, but then I've got all the NCAA and the NAIA stuff to watch junior college guys that are now playing, you know, at the next level going as well. So,
right.
I don't know.
The mic. Therein lies why he is who he is.
You pay a lot of money for extra freaking download bandwidth.
And in between games at halftime, you go in the back and you play NBA Jam.
Yeah. Anybody ever says like, well, I think your internet's going slow. I guarantee you it's not.
I love it. I love it. Well, same time next week, same place. Be safe out there, everybody. And thanks for joining us today. Peace.